It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire. Our mission is to empower. And our mission is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Aliya Johnson-Roberts, who's in the building. And she'll be talking about, I didn't know I could. Vision, plan, action. I didn't know I could. What's going on, Aliya? Welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm glad you're here. And thanks to Dr. Obiama Martin for connecting us, by the way. We're talking about vision, plan, and action. Before we get into I didn't think I could, because I have no idea what that means. Vision. Vision means different things to different people. My first question is, what does vision look like? What does it mean? And why is it so important today? I know it's a loaded question, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah. So the vision, right? This is what I see when I talk about vision. For any of us back in the day when we were kids, and we would find that wish. I found out now it's like a weed, but we used to call it a wish. And you would pick it up, and you would just have a wish, blow it, and you would consider it done. Or back in the day when you would sit with your friends and, your car would ride by, your favorite car, and you're like, that's my car. That's my car. We were so unfiltered. We just dreamed. And it was like, I can have whatever I want to have. And so to me, vision is unfiltered. It is something that we can attain prior to us putting on these adult layers that we kind of created along the way because of experiences or because of what people kind of put on us. And so vision to me is just unfiltered desires that we want for our lives. And I just believe they're attainable. As soon as we think it in our minds, we can have it. That's what vision is.
Now, I'm curious. I mean, not to be Debbie Downer here, but why do people struggle then? I mean, if they just got to think it and obtain it, I guess the question is, let me frame the question. Why do people struggle so much with even creating their vision? Oftentimes you'll hear, and, again, people might be sitting at home wondering too, that I'm not sure. I don't know. So a two-part question. Number one, why do people who know what their vision is, why do they even struggle? I know that's a loaded question, but hopefully you can frame it. And then the second part of that is, what about the person there saying, I really don't know?
And I get it, right? I get it. I think a lot of that comes from, a lot of the people that you have around you. I believe in having mentors, coaches, people who have done the thing, right? Surrounding yourself with the people who made it possible. So unfortunately, some of us have grown up or are even still in environments where it feels like or it looks impossible. But there's so much information out here. There's so many different places that you can go, people that you could be around. And that's where you get to see, oh, it is possible. And from there, you really just need the roadmap or the blueprint. And so I absolutely get it, right? A lot of what I'm talking about and what I have learned is because that's why I said I didn't know I could, right? And sometimes you have something before you and you see it. For example, I mentioned on one of the podcasts that we have, the Cosby Family to me was like, oh my goodness, I want that. And I will never forget being told that was like a utopia. It's like you live in a utopia. That doesn't even make sense. But who said that I couldn't have it? So it really is a matter of it being a desire and then partnering with people or getting the resources to where it can help you then see what the blueprint is or the framework, and then you develop the plan to go get it.
Develop the plan to go get it. Now, we're getting to the planning. And ladies and gentlemen, I know y'all reading Aliya's bio. I know some of you are curious. Some of you are like, I don't know who this person is, Shay. Don't worry. We're going to get to that in a moment. But I want to help you because you're out there and the topic as you're reading below says, I didn't think I could. Why? Help me. I'm probably the only one. Why that topic And why is it so important to you so we can get a frame of reference for it? I didn't think I could. And then you got vision, plan, execute. Take a moment to talk about that if you would.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I frame it that way because that's where I was, right? I
Ah.
didn't even know that I could do even what I'm doing today until experiences and circumstances brought me to the place where I was like, oh, I could. So right, it's so funny. I just thought about this in this moment. How many of us, read the book, the engine that could, right? It There were so many stories about perseverance and things like that. And again, we depending on, again, environments and where we grew up and the schools we went to, some of that defined, what we ended up believing. But once you kind of get outside of that fishbowl, there is a world of possibilities. And yes, I'm not a Debbie Downer. I am a glass half full person. So for some people, it could be like, okay. But again, connecting with people, and there's so many resources and there's so many ways that we can, just have a vision or have a desire or have a dream, and it doesn't have to be. And so that's what I really, really teach. I don't even want to say try. That's what I really teach is it is a matter of systems and frameworks and figuring out how to get there. I know you said we're going to get to the plan, so I won't jump there, but
No,
that's why.
no, no. Don't wait on me. They're like, Shay, don't hold her back. She's ready to go. So let me slow down, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't mean I apologize for cutting you off. No, no. Take it right there. Take it right there because, you know, let me say this. Some folks they're listening saying, let Aliya know that I'm busy. So I'm before you get into the planning side, let me just let because our audience, I know you probably did the research, but a lot of our audience are full time. They're what I call dualpreneurs. They work a full time job and they're full time entrepreneurs. Some of them take care of their wife, some take care of their husband, some have kids that have activities, so they got activities of activities. Others are involved in their community. Like, look, I'm very busy. So
Same.
so Shay, when she's talking, can she also talk to the busy person that has a lot going on? That now you want me to slow down and do a plan. So yeah, talk about the importance of the plan, but also let you know these are very busy people. Like, oh my gosh, not another thing. So here's the question: when you get into planning, talk about really the importance. I know you're going to do that probably anyway. So you at home, you listening, don't be listening like, "I'll plan. I know about a plan." No, no, no. Hear what Aliya has to say and why it's so important and how it can change your life. Take it
Yes,
away.
absolutely, absolutely. And even when you said plan, right? You have some people who are planners. I am one of those people. You have some people who don't like calendars or planners or things like that. I absolutely get it, which is why there are so many different tools out there that helps different kinds of people. And so, what I mean by plan, that can look like so many different things. For example, my background even before my current career was business, right? I always wanted to be in fashion. And so, my husband laughed now. Like I've always heard so many people say, I want to be a fashion buyer, but he's never met someone, right? And so that was my dream. That was my dream. And that's my previous background. But I'm a childcare business owner, second generation childcare business owner. And so this message that I'm sharing is really related to that as well. I grew up in an industry where I saw, okay, this is what it looks like in the childcare industry. This is what it looks like owning a childcare program. You care for children, you work long hours, you care for families. The industry is underpaid. Yes, it is. Right. And so I say all that to say there were a lot of limitations within that industry. And so for some people, depending on the industry you're in, and I'm speaking to entrepreneurs, there may be limitations even in that. And so the reason I'm talking about vision and dreaming is because the historical data or the industry that you're in doesn't have to define where you end up. And so,
Mm.
yes, I'm a childcare business owner working on building up the third childcare business owner. But what I found was that this industry was so focused on passion, which it is extremely important, but we're also business owners. And what that took was finding resources, connecting with organizations that not only focused on just this one industry, but it really focused on, okay, if I connected with people in other industries and learned about business overall, then I can bring that back to my industry and my family, and I can then start to create the life that I want. A lot of times, in again, depending on the industry that you're in, sometimes we don't necessarily talk about the future, right? I believe in the be, do, have. So who do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? And so identifying those things, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a plan, but identify it, and now you get to really understand what it is that you want. Until you do that, we can't create a plan and go get it if it's not defined. And that's what I mean by a plan. That might sound really formal, but a plan can be a thought that's written down on paper, and now it's a plan. And now we can execute it. And execution can really mean you and I are on here right now having a conversation. I can speak it out loud, and that's a part of my execution because I put it out there. And now I can put the action behind it and go do it.
I love it, by the way. And this is a good segue. You start giving us bits and pieces of your story or what you do. But it's a great segue for those folks that have not read the bio. You may be meeting you for the very first time. I'll have her slow down and tell us a little bit about who is Aliya. So they want to know a little bit of the backstory. And then what was the defining moment that you knew that this was the trajectory you want to be on, helping folks be able to really improve the quality of their life and have everything they deserve once they know what it is and have a plan and then go execute?
Oh, so if I can be honest, I recently found the answers to the questions that you just posed. And so I mentioned that I'm a second generation childcare business owner. So I grew up in childcare. My home was a childcare. My mom had in our basement uh, a childcare program. And so from the age of 4, I've been in childcare. I've been living in childcare. And so, that's what I knew. That's what I saw. I saw everything that my mom put into that. She was always an entrepreneur. And so I had my own dream, and I went on, I did my fashion thing, which, I'm so appreciative that my mama, she gave me the space to do that. Um, and I vowed to never be in childcare because of the things that, people think about it, which is they're underpaid. Like, I have no desire to be in childcare. So, interestingly, right, fate would have it, I got a new position at a childcare buying off, not a childcare, buying office. And within 3 months, they shut down the whole department and was laid off. But that was right at the time my mom asked, she wanted to partner with me in business because I really love business. She was in childcare. We put it together, and it was like the perfect marriage. And so I walked out of that job. Well, they had just shut down the department, and I walked into the childcare program. I walked in to what I consider to be the confines of regulations, right? It's heavily regulated. You have a lot of policies and things that you have to follow. And so to me, there were a lot of limits, if you will. But you have to have regulations, right? We're taking care of people's children. But I definitely felt like I walked in saying, okay, what do we need to do? And I followed that. You asked about the defining moment. Just about 6, 7 years ago, I've been doing this for 15 years now, but 6, 7 years ago, we actually, I was not at one of my childcare sites, and there happened to be, it was truly an accident with the child. The child got hurt, and next thing I know, listen, I thought everything was fine. We followed all protocol. I checked the regulation book, and next thing I know, I got a letter saying that I was myself and the staff person was going to be charged with child neglect. When I say devastated, devastated, because I was like, I didn't understand. I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't see how. And so we had to fight it. For a whole year, we had to fight having our names on the registry of child neglect. And that moment, right, if anyone knows me, right, I'm really quiet. I have been that kid. I like to play in the corner by myself. You typically wouldn't hear my voice unless you ask me a question, I answer. But what I learned in that moment is there could be one allegation, there can be one complaint, and everything could be taken away. That moment was such a defining moment because what I saw was my mother's legacy. I saw my family's, not just my family, but all the families and the staff, everything could be taken away just like that. And I said, not me. And that's when I became an advocate for children, but also childcare business owners. I then began to create systems so that we could protect ourselves. I started to look into what other business owners do and how can we have not just retirement, but how could we have investments? How could we have other streams of income? How could we level up our business so that there's more than enough revenue so that we had particular profits. I went off and got joined in the EOS system, the entrepreneurial operating system, which is very business focused. I started connecting with and networking and getting into organizations that were very business focused so that I could put the two together and really protect what we had created. And so that was such a defining moment that made me say, I don't want childcare business owners to feel like they are just childcare owners, but they are business owners first who happen to be in the early childhood education industry. And so now, I work with childcare business owners. I'm a coach and consultant so that I can help other childcare business owners be advocates for their business. And so that was such a defining moment, including other experiences I saw my mom go through that had nothing to do with caring for children. It was always around business. And there seemed to be a lack of conversations around building a business. And I didn't want that. I wanted my mom to be able to retire. I didn't want her to struggle. I didn't want her to work 40 plus years and feel like she could never stop working and live a life because I had seen it. I started seeing people pass away, doing this work. And not to say that they didn't have a great nest egg or that they didn't live the life that they wanted. I knew what I wanted for my family. I knew what I wanted for myself. And so I said, okay, now we're going to have another stream of income. I still own childcare centers. I still operate them. So I can teach other childcare business owners in real time, what I'm doing, how I'm navigating things, different ideas and strategies. And so I am now curating the life that I always saw, and it wasn't dependent on the industry that I was in.
Man, thanks for being so vulnerable. Thanks for sharing something so personal. You already told your today is my January 1st comeback story, and you embedded in there, which really really powerful. What made you feel so comfortable being able to share? Some folks, when they have things like that in their background, they don't want anyone to know about it. Why are you so comfortable being so vulnerable? And it sounds like this is the person you are.
Yeah, because if I'm not, then who? And then how can we transform, right? How can we, if we don't tell the stories, right? Someone, even if it's one person, I believe could relate. It may not have been the exact same situation, but if I could connect with one and we can change what it looks like, then my work is done. Again, I am, if I could be honest, I'm finding my voice. And I'm like, once you find your voice and realize that you have something to say, I used to, right? And it is interesting how vulnerable I am being, but I used to dress through my clothing. I said that I was in fashion. So I used to, kind of raise my voice in other ways. But I realize that sometimes you have people who are, maybe they're not loud or, maybe they're not always in the front of the line or always seen, but that doesn't mean that they don't have something to say or that they're not making an impact. And so I want to make sure, listen, I help raise up children and I want them to be able to find their voice, whether it is, a smaller voice, if it's a little more faint, that doesn't mean that they don't have something to say. And I don't want anyone to be ashamed, right? I'm not even ashamed to tell a story because it happened. And I can imagine that it happened to someone else. And we can't make change unless we, tell the story.
Consistency. I mean, you talked about action being one of the key components, and you may have heard this before. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. And having said that, what do most people struggle with the most? Ladies and gentlemen, I got two hands up. Don't worry. Consistency. So my question to you is the action part sounds easy to do, but it's probably very difficult in reality. Take a moment and talk about what do you share with clients says, I know what to do. I'm just not being consistent in doing it. So therefore, I'm always starting over again. So here's the question. Consistency. What words would you have to someone that says, I'm struggling with consistency right now? And that's one of the biggest worries I have.
Yeah, I would say what I have done and still do, having an accountability partner. I mean, and
Mm.
whether they're paid or not. I just jumped on a live that I had an accountability partner in a program that I was in and saw that she was doing something, literally was doing the homework from, what was that, about a week ago. And that was my accountability partner. They could be whoever. I was on the phone with my daughter right before this, having a conversation, acting as her accountability partner. We share things. Again, I really believe that the circle that you keep is extremely important to the actions that you take or the lack of action that you take. And so, again, I mentioned it at the beginning. Sometimes once we speak something, we put that out there. And if we're in the right space around the right people, they want to remind you of that and hold you to that because they care or because you're paying them. And so, for those of us who may struggle with consistency, get you someone who's consistent and ask them to help you or hold you accountable. There's times I'll put on my Facebook page something that I'm going to do just so that I know that I'll put it out there and I have to do it. So yeah, I would say another thing I talk about a lot is I speak about my why a lot. And I think having your why is extremely important. Knowing what your why is. And a lot of times that's a driving force. So if we connect with our why and speak out our why and know what our why is, then that helps you to be consistent as well.
I love it. And one of the questions I love to ask is what's one of the best pieces of advice that you've ever
Oh, did I
been given?
freeze?
Now, we're framing for the audience because the audience has had so many pieces of advice, I'm sure, right? She's had a lot of mentors along this journey of life. She's worked with a lot of folks. But if you had to pick out one piece of advice and say, Shay, this is one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given, what would it be and why? Uh oh, did I lose you? One. So what? Let me just say it again. What's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given?
Oh, um, I would say it was actually a question. It was a question, which actually was advice to me, and the question was from one of my coaches, and it was, well, who said you couldn't? It really was around the who said, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. I will never forget. This was actually a couple years ago. I was in my PhD program. I was getting my doctorate in educational leadership, and it got to the point where I mentioned to you, I was in business programs and I was connecting with other business industry leaders. And, I was exposed to so many people doing amazing things. And to be honest, what I was learning in the PhD program didn't look like what I was experiencing. And for anyone in education, sometimes they look at demographics and, it kind of says that, right, prison the pipeline and all of these things about at-risk youth and things like that. But I literally was around people who were considered at one point at risk. They were thriving. And I'm like, I just was no longer motivated in that PhD program. And really the question was, well, who said you had to? Who said you had to do that? And I started applying that question to a lot of things that I do, because at some point, for some of us, we start to do things and we don't know why. And so that question really helped me say, you know what? No one said I had to do this. And stopping, I withdrew from the program and I actually really jumped into coaching and consulting, because that was helping me do what I really wanted to do. And that question alone really helps me say, no one said I had to, no one said I had to do that. And it was so liberating. It was really liberating.
Nice. I love it. By the way, I love it. What do you do for fun when you're not out changing the world and making a difference for other folks and helping folks in their business?
Oh, so I have children, right? I have my Cosby family, by the way, literally. We have 6 girls. Um, and I love my family. We have family nights. We go, what are we about to do? I think we're going axe throwing. I love having girls' night out with the friends. My husband and I love going out to eat. Um, I love cooking. We're actually going to another cooking class on Wednesday. I love music, poetry, uh, yeah, all kind. Like I am definitely a free bird, right? Anything that comes to mind, I'm like, oh, let's do it. Going on vacation. I love traveling, and so when we go on vacation, it's like, what can I do that I've never done before? Very adventurous, and yeah,
Well, you
yeah.
mentioned travel at the end. You can't leave us hanging. What's one of the places that you just love that you went to? I mean, yeah, I know you went to a lot of places, but if you had to pick one, say, say, I went here and I liked it because of this reason. Because we're all on the edge now. She's like cooking. Say, what does she like cooking? No, I can't get to all the stuff she likes to do. Okay, I can't. But I will ask her, what's one of the places she likes to travel?
Oh my goodness. I honestly locally I
Yes.
love New Orleans. I love New Orleans. Oh my goodness, the culture, the music, the food. One of my favorite places, Costa Rica. I absolutely loved. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. In May, we'll be going to Hawaii. So I'm excited about that. And I'm assuming that will probably be my next favorite until I get to London. And I always had, again, my fashion background. That is like my dream. So this year I'll be going there. But Costa Rica has been the favorite. But whenever I can, I love New Orleans.
Yeah, I love New Orleans. Looking forward to being back. I'll be back again in July. Been there about 4 or 5 times, but I like the vignettes and going down there and all that cool stuff. And my anyway, so thanks for sharing. Last question as we come down the home stretch. 2 parts actually. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days, if any, so folks know? And number two, how can people best connect with you? How can they stay in this conversation over and beyond the time that you and I have now?
Yeah. So the clients that I'm looking for. So I mainly work with childcare business owners, um, aspiring childcare business owners, but my main client are current childcare business owners looking to grow. So you might be frustrated with enrollment or needing systems or needing to hire and retain staff, right? I love all that problem solving and supporting. I also have a new inner circle that will be launching in April, which really is a combination. I share with you guys this whole conversation about connecting industries and right business owners are business owners. So my inner circle is really business owners, small business owners who are looking for community, looking for right a positive community. Because I'm big on that. I told you I'm glass half full. Looking for strategies, time management, and productivity. And so it's a full year program, just supporting one another. We will be traveling, we'll be going on retreat. But if you're looking for an experience while also learning how to level up your business, then I invite you to the inner circle. And you stay in touch with me, Aliya Johnson-Roberts, on all platforms, including YouTube, where we also do host the Impact podcast. We will be having, if I could share that, Impact Summit
Yes.
next month. April 27th, for owners, right? For is not a child care event. The Impact Summit is for business owners and community leaders and thought leaders who are looking to network with one another so that we can pretty much have one another in our back pockets, if you will. I don't want to try to find an attorney when I need one. I want to have a relationship with one, a banker, other childcare business owners, community leaders. So it's a networking space in Philadelphia, April 27th. But again, Aliya Johnson-Roberts on all things. My business is consulting with AJR.
I'm so excited for you. Thank you for being so much on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you. Thank you to viewers for tuning in. Thank you for being part of this. We really appreciate you. I mean, without you, there is no show. So thanks for showing up. Thanks for sharing it. Thanks for participating. And I never get tired of sharing with you that you, as you're watching right now, you really are awesome. Maybe no one's told you that today. You really are incredible. You're a special person. You're doing so much in the world. Although it may feel like no one's watching, you're making it happen and you're changing lives and changing business. So thanks for all you do. And I believe for you, today is your January 1st. Because of just that one reason alone, your best is still yet to come. Isn't that comforting? Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name hasn't changed. Still Jay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. We'll make some good things out. We connect again next time. God bless. We wish you success. Thanks a lot, by the way. Bye, everybody. We out of here.